Alright, I'm making this video because I'm kind of pissed off at the Jewish community, and someone's got to say this, and if not now, when, and there will be a time. If you look at what's going on right now, we're seeing an escalation in anti-Semitism and in actionable anti-Semitism. This month we got hammered. Bomb threats across the country, especially in the Philadelphia, greater Philadelphia, tri-state area. And then we had this instance where across the country we have an organized effort against cemeteries, against Jewish cemeteries. And the worst thing we can do right now is just defer all our responsibility to the police. Now I'm gonna catch flack for this, but someone has to say something. I'm a firearms instructor. I'm a refuse to be a victim instructor. And let me tell you what's really going on, because no one has had the balls to say this, and I'm just gonna say it, all right? First off, what does the cemetery attacks tell us? They tell us these people are organized, these people are operating across a broad range of the country. This isn't just like one drunk teenager who got all amped up on Mein Kampf and got drunk one night and decided to hop a fence and topple some tombstones. This is an organized effort. This is a bunch of men doing this. All right? And that should be telling enough. But then we have these bomb threats. If you think that these are just pranks, that this is just to disrupt people and scare and just intimidate, you are sorely mistaken. Jews, wise up. The year is 5,776. In the last 30 to 40 plus years in the United States, anti-Semitic incidents, hate crimes have been on the rise. Don't take my word for it. Look at FBI uniform crime reports for the last 30 years. For religiously motivated hate crimes in the United States, we are the victims by 60%. The only 2 years that are the exception of that margin is 2001 and the year of the Benghazi attacks. Otherwise, for the last 34 years, we've been the #1 target for the religiously motivated hate crimes according to FBI uniform crime reports that are gathered across the country. And it's still on the rise, and it's still escalating, and we're still breaking these records. Now let's talk about the school thing, because this is what's really driving me nuts, all right? If you think this is just disruption, you're wrong. Schools have excellent surveillance, right? But they have poor counter reconnaissance. What these incidences are, what I think they are, is I think they're a group of individuals who are planning an attack using these bomb threats as reconnaissance to see how schools react. Schools base their bomb drills off of fire drills. Everyone who comes into schools is logged on a book, or they check in at homeroom. When they have a bomb drill or a fire drill, everyone leaves, goes to a predetermined area, they practice it, cops arrive, fire department arrives as quickly as possible, but the population of that school arrives in one predetermined location where they check in with faculty and staff. This is reconnaissance. This is not just disruption, this is reconnaissance. They're seeing how schools react. They're seeing what police times are. These people are in it not for money. It's not like a bank robbery where the idea behind a bank robbery is you get away with it. This is passion. These are crimes of passion, and they are conducting reconnaissance. And we have no means of counter reconnaissance. If you think that you are simply going to be, let me break it down to you real simple. What do you do in an active shooter scenario? What does a school do in an active shooter or suspicious person scenario? They go into lockdown. Why? Because the definition of an active shooter is a person who is actively committed to killing, who has unfettered access to defenseless civilians, right? So what schools do is they focus on the unfettered part, and they try to mitigate the attack by restricting access to defenseless civilians. All right? Now what do you do in a bomb threat? You leave the building. You're supposed to disperse, but because they have to make sure that no one else is in the building, they corral in a certain area and then they check in. It's the same predetermined spot every time. So what do you do? And this is what police are really talking about behind the scenes. because they know what's going on. And the people who are perpetrating these things, they know what's going on. So it's about time that a Jew spoke up and said what's going on. This is reconnaissance for something bigger. So what does a school do? And I called the school today, and they go, we're working on it, we're working with police, we're on it, we've heard this before. Yeah? Well, what are you doing about it? We're looking into it. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. You either show strength or you get hammered. The truth is, you can't defer to police when you have a bomb threat followed by an active shooter. You can't defer to police. They're always going to be 1 minute late. During Columbine, Bill Clinton tasked the Secret Service to do a report. What do you do when you treat students like the protectees against an active shooter, someone who knows the layout, someone who's done their reconnaissance, whether it be a student or an outsider? And basically, the Secret Service, just like Jews, just like everyone else, they're so politicized they can't give the answer. The bottom line is what the Secret Service does when they have their protectee is they have a designated team of both plainclothes, uniformed officers, and special agents called ERT, Emergency Response Team, and CAT, Counter Assault Team. When you are in an ambush zone, which is exactly what happens when you have a bomb drill followed by an active shooter, it's an ambush. Your only tactical option in that position is to return fire, to suppress incoming fire, and to give covering fire so that the people can get out of the area. Now, the people going to school, right, the kids, sometimes disabled kids, there's no real chance of them, and they know this, the people conducting the reconnaissance know this, it's difficult to disperse when you're a kid under fire. This is going to be Charlie Hebdo times a bunch, and someone needs to step up and tell the truth. Administrators, stop administrating, stop deferring. Rabbis, stop deferring. You think the IDF has done this before? Yes, they have. Why do you think when you go to Israel you see a strong, hard presence everywhere you go? And yet in America, we get our ass handed to us at soft targets. And then we create something like the Federal Air Marshal Service. Well, don't you think that we should have a Federal Air Marshal Service in our synagogues? The average police response time is 12 minutes. Let's say it was 4 minutes. That would be really, really damn quick. That's 4 minutes too long. Administrators got to stop deferring responsibility. Take personal responsibility for your kids, for your students, and step up. You're going to have to be the one to return fire, frankly. Cut the shit.